And furthermore, you make these rules, say one recording device per person. I guarantee you, the next thing that will happen is somebody will come in with 3 friends with 3 other cameras, and then we'll say, oh, one recording device per 2 people. Then they'll have 6 friends, and then you're going to make a rule. They're going to find a way around it. That's what's going to happen. So rather than try and regulate the people away from showing what's going on, and the whole point of the Texas government code recording of meetings is to show an open and transparent government, which is I've been hounding upon for the last several months. We need to be open and transparent.
The farmer letters, Rob writes, took America by storm. They were reprinted in Britain and Europe. And in accordance with the founding era understanding of freedom of the press, Dickinson had written them anonymously, and I think that's important to point out right now, especially because we're hearing people call for a requirement for people to associate their real name with anything they publish online or on certain platforms or whatever. But the founding era, they actually went away from that. They wanted people to be able to publish anonymously because it's the speech, not who is saying the speech, saying the words, that's most important. Eventually it became known. So he was just too popular of a tract and his name got out. So Dickinson eventually became one of the most famous Americans in the world, probably second only to Benjamin Franklin at the time. They were not big fans of him in Great Britain at the time.
In 1774, the First Continental Congress, under the pen of John Dickinson, wrote a letter to the inhabitants of Quebec asking them to join the protests against the ministry in London. And in that letter, Dickinson attempts to convince the Québécois, the French in Canada, that the English system of rights protection is superior to that which they have been enjoying. And so he lists the most important rights that he thinks would be attractive to the Canadians: representative government, trial by jury, habeas corpus, non-feudal encumbered land holdings. The last right, I'm quoting, we shall mention, regards the freedom of the press. The importance of this consists, besides the advancement of truth, science, morality, and arts in general, is in its diffusion of liberal sentiments on the administration of government, its ready communication of thoughts between subjects, and its consequential promotion of union among them, whereby oppressive officers are shamed or intimidated into more honorable and just modes of conducting affairs. Let's look at the elements that Dickinson outlines here. First, advancement of truth, science, morality, and arts in general. These are truth-seeking, teleological, natural law goods. Second, impelling the government to work for the common good, that is, the diffusion of liberal sentiments on the part of government. Third, a promotion of union with communication between persons. And fourth, shaming oppressive officers is a check on corruption. Now, how much can we use this document as a window to the original understanding of what freedom of speech and press must have meant to the founding generation? Well, first of all, it's a text. And it's a better text than we have in the First Amendment or in the debates regarding the First Amendment. It's more explanatory. Secondly, it was the product of the First Continental Congress, whose resolutions provided for a coherent and comprehensive statement of norms, values, institutional arrangements, and offenses of against the colonial cause, and became the grounding of much of what would become part of the Declaration of Independence. It was a continental document. It was an emission from the entire set of colonies and the elites of those colonies. It wasn't a regional document. And it was written by John Dickinson.
Justin Pulliam, Fortman County. So police officers, when they're out in the field, they normally have a dash camera that does in front of their car, a cab camera that gets the back seat, a body camera. Got to have a body camera. Often a DSLR, especially if there's an incident, accident, search, that sort of stuff. I guess I'm taken aback by this because 2 weeks ago on Monday, I was sitting right in front of Councilor Hody, and I was filming, and I went out and talked to him. I invited him for an interview. I asked, if there was any, make sure he could see and everything, and if there was any problem, just to knock on the window or whatever and let me know. And something to the extent of, oh, it was fine. I'll put it on my YouTube channel so everyone can see exactly what happened. Also, if everyone would like to see exactly what was happened, I figured there would be some false narrative thrown at me tonight. So at noon today, I posted a YouTube video on Justin Pulliam, and I wish we could show it for evidence, since this is clearly a very targeted ordinance that's proposed. Again, viewpoint discrimination, nonstop. I don't know where the city attorney is on this. I guess he's tuned out.
What is the Constitution? The Constitution is trying to solve this problem. How do you have majority rule that doesn't become majority tyranny? Madison says that problem, that is what all of our inquiries are aimed at. How do we do that? And what the Constitution, virtually every provision of the Constitution, is somehow in the Constitution because it's trying to help solve that problem. Madison puts it this way in Federalist Number 10. He says, when a majority is included in a faction, the form of popular government enables it to sacrifice to its ruling passion or interest both the public good and the rights of other citizens. Then he says, here's what we're trying to do. To secure the public good and private rights, so the common good, the public good, individual rights, minority rights, to secure the public good and private rights against the danger of such a faction, and at the same time to preserve the spirit and form of popular government, is then the great object to which our inquiries are directed. So what Madison is saying, what we're trying to do is to come up with a kind of majority rule that does not become majority tyranny.
And Ms. Alcacer just admitted that this rule that we're creating is specifically to target Justin Pulliam because she doesn't like the reaction that she's getting from his online viewers. And I would say, is that his fault, or is that, look at your actions?
Government masters frequently discriminate against those who they don't like, while providing special access to those who are favorable to their agenda. The Leon Valley tyrants knew they could not survive the scrutiny of my questions and the truth of my camera. 1 month before voting, they singled me out in an attempt to shut me down. They made it perfectly clear that they were stripping away my First Amendment rights because they did not like the viewpoint of my journalism. Councilman Bradshaw was the exception. He stood up for our rights, and he's the only one who is still on the council today.
And you're using us, and you know you are, as your cash cow for your videotapes. You are. I mean, for your YouTube videos. And I don't know how much money you'll make off of me talking to you right now. Probably, I don't know, $100. I'm not worth that much.